LS feels like you're sitting on a bed of razor blades. My first symptoms of LS, I didn't know they were symptoms of LS. I was young, probably 8 or 9, and I just remember feeling kind of burning in my genital area, and I would go talk to my mom and she would say, "It's fine, go put a cold washcloth on, you'll be fine." And I thought that that was just part of being a girl. In my late teens, I kind of started to notice more symptoms arising. I noticed tearing and little paper cut-like sores when I would wipe with toilet paper that was too rough. I would bleed, or if I would ride my bike, I would be sore and there would be blood and it would be itchy. That's when I realized that I don't think this is normal. I must have been in my early 20s. I went to a doctor and he examined me and he said, "Oh, you have white patches on your skin." And I didn't know because honestly I didn't look. And he said, "It's totally normal, you just have different pigmentation than some other women." And he asked if he could bring in the staff of his office to look at my skin. I left there with him not only telling me it was normal, but educating his staff that that was normal. In my mid-20s, I went to a different doctor who was doing just an annual examination, and he looked at my skin and said, "Oh, I think you have lichen sclerosus." And that was the first I had ever heard that term in my life. And he did a biopsy. It came back positive. He prescribed me a testosterone cream. And what he said to me was that this cream may make your voice lower and you may develop facial hair, but it's the only treatment. So, a young girl in my 20s, I did not use it. I dated, but I didn't have sexual intercourse with people because it was painful. And I would tear and I'd have to take 3 or 4 days to recover, and it was no fun. And then in my mid-20s, I met my future husband. We were sexually active, not crazy, just maybe here and there because I really would have to take 3 or 4 days off to heal. I didn't tell my husband at first because I was young and embarrassed and felt like something was wrong with me. I don't remember when I finally told him, but I did tell him. He never asked any questions. He did not really want to know. It was just kind of a hush-hush situation. I was embarrassed to admit that I was different, and I was, I guess, in some way afraid that he would want to find somebody that didn't have these issues and that could go day after day of having sex without having to recover. So I kind of just pretended that it was fine. I felt frustrated, or like something is wrong with me, and frustrated with the medical community because I couldn't get any help, and I felt just at a loss. And I honestly did not talk about this to people, and I didn't know any other woman that had this problem. I'd never heard of it. Having children was a time in my life when actually the LS seemed to go into a little bit of a remission. I had my first child at 31 and my second at 33, and I do not remember having many symptoms. I feel like I had flare-ups here and there, but it wasn't running my life. The symptoms came back when I had my hysterectomy. I had a hysterectomy about 3 years ago, so I was 43, and they came back full force, worse than ever. Any toilet paper would tear the area. Riding a bike, I have a horse, any of that was horrible, is horrible for it. It just takes, you do an activity and you have to recover for 3 days. My OBGYN prescribed me with clobetasol cream. He said, just put this on when you're feeling a flare-up, when you're itchy or things are tearing. I went back to my doctor about a year later, and he was examining me and he said, "Are you using the clobetasol every day?" And I said, "No, I'm using it as needed." And he said, well, you need to use it every day because your anatomy is changing. Your right labial fold is disappearing and atrophying. And that was the first I had ever heard that this disease can alter your anatomy, and that terrified me. My husband and I separated about 6 years ago, and it wasn't due to the LS, but it definitely played a part because I was constantly pushing him away and not interested in being intimate as often as he wanted. Because of the LS, it would tear me up and I would have to heal. When I wake up in the morning and I'm in a bad flare-up, I'm extremely frustrated. And I usually have to cancel my workout classes, and it's just wears on you day in and day out. It's the chronicness of this disease that gets to you. So it's years and years of suffering, of not being able to do what you want to do, that is the devastation of it. When I'm in a flare-up, I usually wear really loose clothes, sweatpants, or if I have to go to work, I just have to wear what I wear to work. But I know women that have talked about cutting the crotches out of jeans and having to wear skirts because they can't wear anything at all against their skin. It's too painful. I personally don't. I just live with it and then go home and medicate. If I'm going to get into a relationship, that's going to be sexual, which I would love, but it's not realistic for me right now because the recovery is not fun. You know, I feel like I'm less than somebody that doesn't have it because I can't go and have marathon sex. I've almost written the whole thing off and just decided I'm not going to have a sexual life. I came across Dr. Newman's name one night while laying in my bed in a horrific flare-up state, and I Googled LS and his name came up. And I read about him and his stem cell replacement therapy for lichen sclerosus. I had never heard of any other treatment, and I knew that this was an experimental treatment, but I was just happy that there was a doctor that knew something about this. Dr. Newman's very personable, he's friendly, he's easy to talk to, he's non-judgmental, he understands, and he's just very warm and friendly, the whole office is. I just wanted to go to dinner with them all. I decided to have the stem cell lift for the LS with Dr. Newman because I had done a lot of research and read a lot of testimonies from his previous patients that are all having positive results. Anything is wonderful. Dr. Newman's office has set up a Facebook page dedicated strictly to lichen sclerosus patients and people that suffer from it. And I have been invited to join that group, and I've been reading some of the things that people are trying, and people are desperate for help. Some are going as far as using leeches in the area. Others are putting home remedies like honey and all kinds of things just to find some relief. It's awesome that Dr. Newman has taken this under his wing and is bringing awareness to this. Super important. I've been dealing with this horrible disease my entire life. It dictates everything I do every day. My dream for this stem cell treatment is to wake up, feel great, get out of bed, and just be normal.